Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Our Friends in Addison, a series where we talk to different businesses, organizations, and residents from around Addison to find out what makes our community so special. Today, my friend Leslie spoke with Mary Haley, the project director of the Addison Early Childhood Collaborative, which is a group of local community partners that work together to help provide learning services and resources to families around Addison that have younger children. Their vision is to ensure that all children in Addison are safe, healthy, and eager to learn. We had a great time talking with Mary and learning more about the AECC. So enjoy the video and getting to know one of our friends in Addison.
Hi, my name is Leslie Serrier. I work at the Addison Public Library, and today we're very excited to have Mary Haley here from the AECC. Mary, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, Leslie. I'm Mary Haley with the Addison Early Childhood Collaborative. I actually work with Metropolitan Family Services. I'm in the role of the project director with the Addison Early Childhood Collaborative, and my office is based at the ASD4 district office.
Great, we're so excited to have you here today. And for those of you that don't know, can you tell us a little bit about what the AEC is and what you do?
Yep, would love to. We are a group of about 40 partner organizations. The partner organizations are ones that provide early childhood care and education for children and families. And really what we do is work together on a regular basis so that we all know each other very well. And as families are looking for programs and for resources and for solutions that they need for their children that are age birth to 5 or even a little bit older, we all know each other really well. We work together well. We know the services that we all provide. So we're able to work in a really coordinated way to be better at helping families in Addison. And just as a quick example, some of our partners include the library. Another couple partners are the school district, the Addison Children's Center, the Park District. You mentioned before the Addison Fire Protection Agency. They're a part of our group as well. We also have a group of family home child care providers. So those are some of the partners that are working together on a regular basis. And one of the things, like an example of something that we'll do, the library is currently working with the Addison Children's Center to do a winter reading program for the kids. Another example is our group provides books to 3 of the laundromats in Addison. So if families are ever at the Smart Wash or at either of the 2 leisure times, they're able to take home and keep any of the books that are there that have been provided by the Addison Early Childhood Collab.
That's wonderful. That sounds like you offer just so much to our community. Do you offer services in multiple languages?
We do. We primarily offer services in English and then also in Spanish. So whenever we're doing outreach or having events, we're always real intentional about being able to communicate in both languages.
Wonderful. Sounds like you really reflect our community. How long have you been a part? Has the AECC been a part of the Addison community?
The AECC started in about 2012. So this group has been active and working in Addison for about 8 years now.
So what inspired you to get involved and work as part of the AECC?
I love working with organizations and just building relationships and connecting people. It's just something that to me is a lot of fun. And I love seeing what organizations can do together. So there are some problems or there are some needs in the world that can't be solved by just one organization. And this whole idea of organizations working together proactively so that they can work together and do better at what they're setting out to do, I think is a great idea. I used to work for a nonprofit organization and led the partnership group, but that was with a lot of national partners. And as much as I loved doing that, I've always felt that like the real work and the real action and the good stuff that happens at the local level within communities. So I set the goal to find a position in a local community, and I was fortunate enough to be offered the Addison Early Childhood Collaborative position just a little bit about 4 years or so ago.
And wonderful. You've really been in there almost from the beginning. You've kind of taken and evolved the program. That's great. So what's your favorite part of your job?
I would say my favorite part in general is building relationships with people, learning about other organizations and what their capabilities are in terms of providing services to children and families, and then connecting partners so that they're working together when they want to, and when there's an opportunity to better service a family or children. So it's really just the ongoing relationship building and connecting that I get to do with people and organizations.
Sounds wonderful to me. That's exactly what we do, and I love it. So this might be a hard question, but what's an average day of work look like for you?
Well, I think like everybody in most jobs these days, there isn't really a typical one, but some of the things that I do on a really regular basis are planning and having working meetings with partners, doing that all the time, sharing partner updates and resources with the AECC partner base, planning upcoming events, and then just doing problem solving.
So if you had to pick just a few, what are some of your happiest memories from your job?
I would say some of my happiest memories are when a parent who one of our partners has worked with happens to get back in touch with us and tell us the outcome of whatever it was they needed and what some of the partners were able to accomplish. So like generally speaking, that's really one of the happiest memories that I have. A little bit more specifically, about 3 years or so ago, the school district started to have kindergarten camp every summer. So for any children that are going into kindergarten in the upcoming fall, they can attend kindergarten camp at no cost, and it's usually about 4 weeks long. The Addison Early Childhood Collaborative during kindergarten camp will hold parent breakfast. So we'll just have a time that parents, after they've dropped off their children for kindergarten camp, can come to the Early Learning Center, hang out in the library, have some coffee, have some breakfast, and it's just real casual and comfortable. So parents get to know each other, get to know families that also have kids that are going into kindergarten, and it's a nice way for our partners to get to know families without it being like a real structured agenda and program kind of meeting. We're just hanging out, getting to know each other, and then families can know about what the Addison Early Childhood Collaborative partners provide. But most importantly, they're making connections with other parents, which is really cool.
Sounds great. I think especially now we would all love to just go to breakfast with a group of random strangers. So I would,
Absolutely.
your goal sounds awesome. So what is one thing you want the viewers to know about the AECC?
One thing that I hope viewers will take away from this is that our partnership group is a bunch of committed organizations with genuinely caring individuals that are dedicated to helping families and kids. Like, it's real. We are a group of people that love to work together. We love what we're doing in the roles that we have, and we are highly dedicated to supporting families as they're helping their children learn and get ready for school.
That sounds great. So clearly we're meeting virtually. So COVID, how how has COVID-19 impacted the service you should provide, and what have you been doing differently to compensate for these changes?
Big picture, the most significant change, and this has been with all of our partners and then also with my role, is everybody is pretty much interacting online. There have been a few times, like early on, where some of us might have tried to keep doing some in-person services and figuring out a way to socially distance. But with the way the pandemic has gone, almost all of us have moved to working and connecting online, which, you know, there's a downside to that because it's not the same as being together with people, obviously. But the upside is being able to be online and use Zoom or use Microsoft Teams or some of the other platforms. It's so much better than just being on the phone and just doing email. So even though there's the downside of not being with people, at least the technology is such that we're able to see each other. So it's not as rough as it could have been if we didn't have this technology that exists now. So a lot of our events have been canceled. Just typical things that we do during the course of the year have also been canceled. And then we have also, the way that our funding is structured, we'll typically plan to do specific projects through the course of the year. So early on in the spring, when it became clear that this was going to last a lot longer than just a couple of weeks, we were able to go to our funders and say that we needed to change our plans and be much more responsive to what families needed in the community right away. So we were able to get funding redirected so that we could do things like help families with food and diapers and wipes and just more of the practical, like day-to-day things that people needed right away.
Great. And I think you mentioned this a little bit, but is there anything new you've started doing in response to the pandemic that you think you'll continue once we return to regular services?
You know what, it's a little bit too soon to tell yet, Leslie, like just from the AECC and my role specifically, but bigger picture, I've had several partners tell me that the pandemic has caused them to relook at a lot of the processes that they used, and they've improved a lot of processes. So it has caused many partner organizations to come up with improved processes, and that they plan to keep the new processes in place after the pandemic because it's so much better than the way they were doing things.
That's good. It's nice when we can look at some of the positive parts of this. There's not much, but it's nice to find the bright side.
Yeah.
So we've learned a little bit about the AECC, and now we want to learn a little bit about you. So what are some of your favorite spots in Addison?
So I have two strong favorites. One is Elio's Pizza. I think the pizza there is fabulous. And the other one is Shoeless Joe's. They have a great, you know, pandemic time, they have a great outdoor seating space with a really nice fireplace. So those are just two good places to go to hang out, spend some time with friends, and get some good food.
I sometimes think we should change that question to what's your favorite pizza in Addison, because everyone always gives us an answer with at least one pizza spot. Maybe we'll have to add that in.
I tried to think about that a little bit more broadly than just coming up with these two spots, but like that's where my heart is. When you say what are your favorite places in Addison, that's genuinely what I think of.
That's wonderful. That's what we want to hear. So what do you like to do in your spare time?
What I like to do mostly is hang out with family and friends. We have two daughters who are like mid-20s who live in Chicago. So one of our favorite things to do is be able to spend time with them. Also hang out with friends. Also love to read and exercise. I have started doing jigsaw puzzles, and actually that started as a result of the pandemic. So I'm getting into jigsaw puzzles quite a bit, and it's something that I wish I had discovered like 25 years ago, because it is a huge stress reliever to me. It's not just like a good way to spend time, it's a good stress reliever. And I've thought to myself so many times, I really wish I had known to be doing this 25 years ago.
I agree. I love puzzles, and I'm so glad the pandemic has made this hobby I had cool. So now I can tell my friends to stop making fun of me. Like, everybody's doing it.
Everybody is doing jigsaw puzzles. I feel like I should start a jigsaw puzzle exchange. We've got about 40 jigsaw puzzles sitting in our basement. And I'm thinking, oh, there's got to be a better way to figure out what to do with these than just have them in our basement to reuse someday.
There are some here in the library of things. So you could always check one of those out if you need a new one.
That's good to know.
So we wouldn't be the library if we didn't ask, what is your favorite book and what are you currently reading?
So that's impossible for me to answer. However, if I had to, I think I would say my favorite book is Listening is an Act of Love. It is a compilation of stories from StoryCorps, and I love the content and I love the title of that book. Listening is an Act of Love. And what I'm currently reading is White Fragility, and then also Women Rowing North.
Ooh, very nice. Some nonfiction in there. That's very good.
Yeah.
So if you were forced to change careers, you don't have a choice, but you weren't limited by skills or income, what would you want to do?
So I love that question. And I have to say, I have figured out now, kind of toward the end of my career, what it is I want to do when I grow up. And what it is I want to do when I grow up, I really have figured out by being in this role, and specifically by having my office based at ASC4. I have always loved education, and I had originally thought that I wanted to be a teacher because I loved being a student. But my career took me in some different directions. Now that I'm in the role that I'm in, and I've learned about school social workers, if I could turn back time, I'd become a school social worker.
Wow, what a passion for service. That's wonderful. So as we wrap up here, is there anything else you'd like to say or you'd like to share with the community of Addison?
Yeah, I think, and this is my own personal perspective. So at heart, I'm a small town girl. And when I first started to work in this role, right away, I sensed that Addison feels like a small town to me. To me, this seems like a very close-knit people with a very close-knit community with a lot of very caring people that genuinely want to help families and children get access to the resources that exist. There's a ton of great resources in Addison. So that's kind of the last thing I'd like to say, that one of the things that has just really struck me as I've gotten to know the community and the people that I work with and the people that are a part of another group, the Addison Resources Connect. There are fabulous resources in Addison that families can be taking advantage of, and a lot of passionately committed people that want to help make these connections. So any families that are looking for ideas and activities and information about children, whether it's birth to 5, which is kind of what we focus on for early childhood, or even older kids, or just in general, needing ideas and needing resources, I can be a point of contact, and anyone can get connected through the kind of hub that we've set up in my position at the Addison Early Childhood Collab. So long way of saying, it's a great community with a ton of resources. And if anybody reaches out to the Addison Early Childhood Collab, we'll get you connected with whatever you need.
That's a wonderful answer. I don't think anyone could have said it better. I think the Addison advantage truly is the people who live and work in this community and how much they care for each other.
Yep,
thank you.
Couldn't agree more.
Thank you so much for taking some time to speak with us today. We love hearing this. We love working with you, and we know that our community is going to enjoy hearing about what you do as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being able to talk to you guys today.